it all off for that scene. You soaked it up over here.
All right. Okay, everyone take a nice deep
Or
breath.
just me.
Let it out. Welcome to season 2 of Off Color. I'm your host, Rebecca Henderson, aka the Tan Tigers. So I just wanted to make a couple of quick announcements. They are about me.
I'm trying to see how this is going to go.
All right, welcome to our
podcast.
We can leave
Read
you
it
to
right.
yourself.
One, I recently, I know you guys know I'm a librarian. I recently left my position. I did resign. There was some stuff happening. I can't get into it because of my lawsuit. No, sorry, I don't have a lawsuit. But I might. Fuck. So anyway, no. I'm just saying, so I did leave my job. There was a lot of things that happened there. So if people are concerned about me or worried, you can go ahead and just like send me a DM and we can talk about that later, what happened in my work. And then... But I feel like the other amazing thing about that is I am going to go all in for Tan Tigress Productions, LLC. So my website is tantigers.com. And we are getting ready to launch on Monday. I have a new partner along with Trish Tolentino. I now have Vince Chandler on my team. What up, Vince? He's sitting here. You can't see him, but he's here. And so we're going to launch on Monday, actually on MLK Day. So please do me a solid and sign up for the mailing list. And I hope you'll support the project. It's called Running with My Girls. And it's about women of color who are running for local office here in Denver, Colorado. Okay? So Running with My Girls. So now I'm like about to be getting. Okay, hold on a second. Let me get a little sip. Okay. Back to work.
You know you hood win.
So
now that we're live, everybody gets to hear what I edit out.
I know that's true. That's so true. It's like this could be like some bonus. I'm a little messy. I'm a little bit messy.
Oh my gosh, she is black.
Okay. Stop. You know what? Theo Wilson, who was on our show previously, okay, he does like introduce me at the Casbah when we go to the poetry Renaissance night, the poetry night, and check that out. Casbah is pretty good. Renaissance, rebirth, the word. He always announces me as he's like, "Don't worry, you guys, she's black." Like he says that. He fucking says that, and he calls me the African from kinda. So anyway, it's a whole thing, but we're gonna keep it moving. Okay.
The African.
So I had a few things I wanted to get into tonight, and so I feel like we would be kind of like remiss if we didn't talk about. Oh, I didn't introduce anyone. I'm trash. Yeah. Next. Okay, James. Whatever. You should be producing shit. You should tell me something. No, never tell me anything. Okay.
Wow.
I'm not sure what's happening.
He usually
emotional roller coaster.
He usually edits all of this. This is like
nothing has happened that doesn't happen every night.
Okay, so first every single person sitting at this table has been on Off Color prior to this evening. So this is basically like an all-stars of like season 1. So we have Hashim Coates. Yeah, go ahead.
Everybody's been on, but I have like the least amount of pictures to show.
Sometimes a diva is in your midst.
Calling this Mr. Ross.
In the spirit of Aretha Franklin.
Hold on. All right, so Vince, take Hashim's picture, please.
Can't say nothing.
Okay.
You can. I'm going to set this up here so you can see.
So I can see it too.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Hey, Katrina. Hi, Molly. Ooh, Molly's our super fan. Okay, sorry.
Omar
Stay focused.
Montgomery's in.
Omar! Oh, wait, isn't he running for mayor?
He is running for mayor for the city of Aurora.
That's right.
So, like right now, donate to Omar, volunteer for Omar, like calls, door knocks.
Yeah.
Even if you like, I don't have a lot of time, an hour a week is an hour a week, and that's so
it is. These local elections, that's what my film is about, by the way, Running with My Girls. I'll plug my shit again, but only because that is what it's about. It's about trying to see like what goes into like running for office, particularly when you're a person of color.
Can I ask who's the current mayor of Aurora?
No, you cannot. So we're gonna keep going because I'm introducing people. I'm sorry. Let me keep going. Hashim tried to correct me on my own show.
Teamwork make a dream work.
Okay. So Hashim Coates is here. He's famous from various episodes. Just kidding, just one, but you know.
Careful when you Google me.
Yeah, word. I mean, I feel like you gotta be careful when you Google basically all of us at this point.
The man tried to get me.
At this point, the man, yeah, but he's not gonna keep you down. You know what I'm saying? Not you. Never you. All right, so we also have Hasira Ashemu, aka H Soul. Some people may remember him from the Black Panther episode and the Miseducation episode. And
That's it.
That's it. Word.
Only twice.
Ooh.
Well, the Black Panther was a two-part.
That was two, so it was like 3 times.
Technically 3.
Yeah, Black Panther was like legit. No, because he was all, ooh, fuck Black Panther, and then we all went
You
crazy.
did say that shit.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, stuff.
Are you guys judging me?
We're not going to re-legislate.
Absolutely.
2019. We're moving on.
Absolutely.
New year, new
History
me.
matter.
Right?
This is King Weekend.
Okay. All right, so thank you so much for being here.
Yes,
for realsies,
absolutely.
For realsies, okay? And then we also have the great Kerrie Joy. She is our poet. She is our queen, and she has been on the show with her partner, Candice Vaca.
Hey, boo.
Hey, girl, you watching out?
Candice Vaca.
Yeah.
That's my mom.
She's running for city council.
District 9, Denver City Council.
District 9. And she's actually one of the subjects of my film project, The Running with My Girls. And
And Lisa Calderon was
and
there.
Lisa Calderon.
As well.
Lisa was there, Candy, and Kerrie. So that was a really great episode. You guys and Shayla. And Chantel. No, Shayla and Chantel came on.
Yeah, they weren't at
Don't
that
worry
episode.
about that. Okay. Oh, God. This is whack. We have to edit stuff.
No,
Okay.
you don't. This
Next.
is
It's too late. It's too late.
It's too late. I mean,
Well,
listen, you just.
This is how babies are made. Going
This
wrong.
Going raw. Going raw. Make it happen.
All right, so and so now we will continue on with my lengthy introduction. We also have the great singer Danette Hallowell of a very consensual Santa Baby fame,
Sing something.
and our season finale episode.
Happy New Year!
Oh, word.
Should all acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind?
Sang, girl.
Go, girl, go. By the way, I'm Danette's manager. So if you want to book Danette, you're going to have to hit up thetantigress.com. Okay.
Cash
so,
up front.
Okay. I'm going to pull it together. All right, so now we know who's here. Everyone's been on the show before. You can check them out from season 1, and I feel like that's important information to have. All right, so I wanted to talk about some things that affected me in the past week. So there's a lot of stuff going on. We're not going to talk about the state of our government at this time because the shit is in the garbage. But if you haven't heard, hey, Buffy, get off of there. All right, never mind. Sit down. It's fine.
Knock that light over.
I just want her to knock the light over. It's a he. I mean, that dog is gender neutral.
All right,
So
come on, Buffy. He. All right. Yes, bitch. Yes.
we all got nervous. The dog is making our asses nervous as shit over here.
Good.
Okay.
I'm great.
Okay. Oh my God. We're going to have to work
There are
things out.
16 people watching. We need to...
Oh, 16?
Yeah.
Well,
Hey,
shit.
share to
Guess
your
what?
friends, yeah.
Every 16...
Oh, let me start a watch party.
Okay. Oh, good
Yeah.
idea. So, people who are watching this, thank you. And we're going to get into it. Okay. I'm sweating. I'm sweating, y'all. Okay. Are you guys ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
I was
We've
born
been
ready.
ready.
I was born ready. I say that
Yeah.
every day. Why are we we're like twin souls?
We are.
Honestly. I just love you. You're tops. Okay.
Express
Now,
love and monetary donations.
yes, same to you. So, next. All right. So I'm trying to get somewhat serious, but I wanted to talk about something because a few people at this table have heard some things that happened. So I don't know raise your hand if you watched Surviving R. Kelly.
Hell no.
Sorpresa, look who ain't watched it.
I'm not subjecting myself to that bullshit. R.
Amen.
Kelly's been fucked.
Amen.
R. Kelly's been messed up for years.
Okay.
Amen.
Okay,
Why?
that's fine. So
Yeah.
let me tell you something. So I watched it, and the reason I watched it is because Tarana Burke, founder of the Me Too movement, she said that she was if you can't watch it because it's too triggering for you, that's fine. But don't turn away from these women's from their experience, right? And so we watched it. Danette came over to the crib because she also watched my baby for a long time while I was in LA. By the way, I'm blowing up a big star. Next, we sat down to watch it together, and it was really awful. I feel like that's like the only way to
trash.
describe it. It was trash.
It was
I mean, it was
important.
real.
It was
Right.
important,
yeah.
but he's
There were
trash.
stories.
Like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
R.
All
Kelly's
right.
complete trash.
Yes.
But their stories, I appreciated them telling them.
I felt that it seemed like from me watching it that in some way it was like very cathartic for them, and that it was also like validating to be like finally someone's like listening to me, you know? And so I liked that aspect of it. And then for me particularly, it was like triggering in the sense that like I used to date this dude that looked just like R. Kelly. I'm not even kidding you. Like he would wear these like big diamond studs and shit, and he looked like him. So every time I see him on there, I get like, you know, it was just like bad. And it was terrible what happened with him. I feel like I might have gone out with R. Kelly, you guys. I think he was masquerading at my work.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he would have came to your high school.
Huh?
I'm just saying.
Right.
Like,
Let's say how old are you?
Right.
I was 21.
yeah. But
Over the hill.
Too old. Yeah,
I
right.
don't mess with
Right.
that.
He doesn't
I'm
do
just saying,
seniors.
you know, that's who he is. Not even that's who he is. I appreciated the documentary for the docuseries for letting people know, reminding them that there are young women still under whatever strange spell. You know what I mean? And from my understanding, he's still like, they don't tend to be as young anymore, but they're still no. That's what
That's obvious.
However,
As young. 15
As young.
is not as young as 14.
right? That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm
Right,
trying to say.
right,
It doesn't
right.
make any difference. Because he also manipulated older women. It didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? He's a predator. Period.
So, do you think though? Okay, so why do you think we all knew, right? I mean, I feel like that's the thing. Like we knew the
When
pee on
Trap in
you
the
shit,
Closet
right?
came
Like
out, I
let's
was
just
like,
think about Dave Chappelle. I pee on you.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say yeah, but I mean, just thinking back on it though, it was like we all knew, and yes, Kerrie.
I was gonna let you finish. I just wanted.
You want to
my
speak
hand
to
up.
Getting
something?
cute.
Okay,
Yes.
word.
Yeah, getting cute.
I know. I was like, do I need a talking stick for this shit tonight? Because I feel
We're good.
like
We
this
are
is
the
a
talking
rowdy,
stick. Yes.
rowdy crowd.
I'm not rowdy.
Okay.
I'm trying to fight those damn white labels. I'm not rowdy. But go ahead.
I'm just
True. No,
I feel like, but when was the last time though?
It's true.
No, it's a good point, but I will say this. When was the last time you heard a group of black people described as rowdy?
No, it's the new millennial term is sassy.
Don't even get me started on that shit.
They can't take
If anybody
sassy
want to
out.
know why I quit my job, call me later.
That overlaps into the gay agenda.
Yes, stand by. We're not moving. We're gonna
Can
keep
I ask
it
a
moving.
quick question about R. Kelly?
Yeah, but I was gonna read something. But go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, my bad. I didn't know what you was doing.
Ahem.
You can't tell me that.
I wasn't sure.
You don't know.
No, it was only you can never know what the fuck is gonna come out of my mouth at any time. So no, I wanted to say the thing that I found very disturbing was, and I took, I be taking screenshots and stuff,
Are you good? Go ahead.
so don't say nothing to me
Receipts.
that you don't know.
Right.
You don't want brought back again. I have a whole file that was called work receipts. Okay, sorry.
Releasing that information because you don't know what's going to happen further on. But
I
go ahead.
don't.
Go ahead.
But I
Go ahead.
do. Nothing. Anyway. So it was just that some of these tweets I thought were that people were saying was very disturbing. And it was something that I myself was guilty of. So I want to talk about it a little
Katrina
bit.
said we're hard to hear.
Oh.
Well, you guys were just whispering.
Hard to hear.
Oh.
Okay.
Katrina,
I just
can
wanted
you
to
hear
make sure.
us?
That ain't
Yeah.
for
She
you,
wants
then,
me to
Katrina.
yell. That's his wife!
Oh, I mean,
And she's a Puerto Rican Jew, and you don't see that every fucking day.
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that, honey.
That's right. He didn't hear it.
or else I whoop his ass.
That's right.
I ain't gonna let nobody disrespect
Respect
you.
you, baby.
She's like, look, it says just James is hard to hear.
For better or for worse.
For better or for
don't yell.
worse.
Some white feet.
His sickness and his health. Sorry, I'm fanning myself because it's hot in here. Okay, so I just wanted to but now I'm gonna try to take it seriously. Am I okay? Okay. No, Rebecca, don't yell more. Shut up, Katrina. Damn. I love her. All right. Listen, we need new logos. By the way, Katrina Zarelli is an amazing graphic designer, if anyone wants to know, and needs I don't know, all this campaign stuff we're talking about, but if people are looking for a designer, but you have to pay her.
Oh yeah.
That's
So the
all I'm
R.
saying.
Kelly thing.
Okay.
Fuck. All right, here I go.
And focus. Yeah.
What time are we wrapping up?
9:00. We have 10 more minutes. Here we go. No, I'm just kidding. It's 8:06. Come on now. Here we go.
My contract says 2 hours.
So, that's legit. So Danette and I were watching it, and I couldn't help but think about, and this is, I feel like, a very common argument, what I would consider like a low-level argument, but it's like, well, think about what we were like when we were 15, and if there are people being like, these fast girls, da-da-da-da-da. Stop. I know, you may, but I'm saying, when I have a moment to like think back on the kind of teenager that I was and what I was doing, which was like nothing, daddy, and I feel like, I mean, I understand like the basic thought behind that. And I feel like I said that. And then at the same time though, it's like, man, but like the dudes I'm messing around with were like other like 15, 16-year-olds, right? Like not like a grown man, like grooming me to prepare me to be his.
Right.
Yeah.
40 years old hanging out at a McDonald's to pick up high school chicks.
Yeah.
I mean, you're the grown man in this situation, right? And so I think I saw it on D.L. Hughley's Instagram. I don't know if he said it or not, but he was just like, you can't be fast enough for a grown ass man that likes children.
That's right.
Like he can't. You know what I'm saying? Like it's up to him to not hang out at high schools. It's up to him to make that choice. And so if you weren't interested in little girls, then they wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, it's like Gabby, because you know who you are as well, wielding that power. So anyway.
No, you're correct. The only thing I will add to that though, before I interrupt everyone, as is my way, is that then I just saw these, like, this is like one example, and it upset me, so I actually like took a screenshot of it, and it was just, R. Kelly, we both know them hoes wanted it, dog. 15, make her scream. And I know, but I got like sick from it, and I was like, you know what? And it's a public post, so
Who posted it?
Lord, keep me near the cross.
Right,
I feel you guys, this is my half white side coming out right now. Here it is. Kayasha? What is his name?
Sometimes they be hard. It's true. Let's be honest.
And I'm like,
Like, sometimes I can't pronounce it.
Kiwasha.
You just tell me.
Yeah, just tell me how to pronounce it.
Okay.
Q-U-E.
Yeah, but so they said that, but it looks like K because, you know, hablo español porque con esa cara como que no. Eso es lo que la gente me...
Quay.
All right. So anyway.
So can we mix it up a little bit? Can we get into the issue, the topic?
No, I want to just finish this
You
one
want
thing
to
real
finish
quick.
reading the tweet?
So I want, it's just like a whatever, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
But it's just, I'm saying that then the response to that, instead of, this is, you're disgusting, you shouldn't be saying this, the kind of things that maybe we would comment on, right? Mm-hmm. The responses were like, facts, they be hot in the ass. My whole thing is, how are you a victim when you put a dildo? Okay, I'm gonna stop now. But I'm just saying.
It was victim blaming.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's
okay.
just victim blaming.
So, sorry the setup was slow. Thanks for trying to produce my show, H Soul.
Thank you.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
She absolutely does.
My thoughts exactly. But, you know, whatever.
Mama's running a little hot tonight. Okay. I did just quit my job on Monday. So, all right.
You escaped a hostile work environment.
Exactly. That's how
I did. I had to escape a hostile work environment.
I love it.
Now it's documented. Go ahead.
I think that it's okay and acceptable in the Black community and in other communities to dismiss, demean, and not believe Black women. So all of that makes sense. I think that as Black women, it's easy to say that they're fast. You know, it's easy to say, oh, look how she's dressed, or look at her hair, and I mean, it's just so easy.
Yeah.
Can I correct?
Yes.
No.
I mean,
I think
sure,
you're going to go where
correct.
I'm going.
And it's not a bad correction. I just want to correct some of the statement. Like, it's not okay.
It's not okay.
But it seems to be a cultural norm or a historic practice to do that, which is not okay. Like, that's not okay, even though that's what we do. Because
Thank you
Malcolm
for that
X,
correction.
no,
It's not okay.
Right.
I'm just saying that.
As Malcolm X stated, like, you know, the Black women are the least protected, least respect. I'm paraphrasing here. Group out of all the races, out of all the cultures there are. But that's not okay. And all that is a perpetuation of racism, misogyny, and patriarchy. Shit that we've learned from the oppressors, and that we want to emulate that as men on female women bodies, because if I can oppress you, then I feel better, and that shit's not good. I mean, I was trying like that. I said to myself I was going to use profanity, but there's some issues that I want to use profanity on, and I'm a firm believer and protector of Black women. So that's not good. That should never be the norm, and one should always question themselves of, is this the best interest of Black women, right? And so I've had friends and that I tell them, I was like, I hope your daughter has a man just like you, and they get mad. I'm like, what you mad about, right? Like, so, like, if you feel like what you're doing is okay, why are you so upset when I tell you that? Exactly. So yeah, so like that tends to be the going thing, but we must be vigilant and actively, overly vigilant in changing that norm, because that's not good and not acceptable. So. Were you going to say something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the problem that I had with this documentary, and I made a post, and I did it in haste, but I'm not walking anything back that I said in that post at all.
Let's get it.
Right? And that is that there's two things at issue here, right? There's R. Kelly and his sickness and his illness, and he is sick and he is ill. And then there's the public pathologizing of Black people for white consumption. And so the issue that I took is that Black people and our issues are always pathologized in a way that it's for white entertainment, for white consumption, right? Because still as we sit, we know that R. Kelly, and this is not to excuse R. Kelly, but where are the documentaries on Harvey Weinstein?
Exactly.
Where are the documentaries on what's this little weirdo who married his daughter? His daughter.
Woody Allen.
Where's the documentary on Woody Allen, right? White people don't pathologize
the president of the United States. Even.
The president of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why we're sick is because we're immersed in white supremacy. So they get us on the come. And then the profit from our illness is Lifetime. It's Hollywood. It's, these various, shows. And so my post was about us being prudent. I didn't watch it because, first of all, I'm in media.
And you don't have cable.
Well, yeah, that too. But I'm a brother. I can get it if I really want it, right?
I just got cable for the first time this year.
There it is. I can get it. I could have watched it. If I wanted to watch it.
My husband works with that.
That's it.
That's all. So,
after this.
because I work in media, I know its power and its ability to impact the spirit, the soul. And so I'm very mindful about what I let in my gate. And I know that he's trash. The whole Black community knows that he's trash. I think the value of the documentary is so that the women get to tell their stories. I think my point was that if Lifetime's really about healing, then it should have been done differently. Yeah. Why shouldn't it, first of all, make sure that Lifetime doesn't get $1 from telling that story, that all that money is donated to the women who they are using their stories. Donate that money to them, set up trauma centers. Like, listen, the triggers, if you're going to put something like that out into public, right, then you have to be held responsible for the drama and the trauma that comes from it. And the fact of the matter is, Lifetime was interested in watching the feeding frenzy that the Black community had on each other because it only uplifts their ratings, which uplifts their bottom line. And so I'm always, there's an African proverb that says, until the lions create their own historians, the tail will always belong to the hunter. He will always be the winner, right?
The winner writes history.
That's right.
May I say one thing before? It's just that I push back on saying that everyone in the Black community knows he's trash, because I'm sorry, like the shit that I'm seeing and the things people are saying and just being like whatever,
they know he's trash.
But I feel like they're like, no, they think it's fine.
Yeah, but they know that's because trash has been. I'm saying they do because trash has now become pathologized, because now we think that being trash is okay.
Right.
So it's not. It's not. I'm sorry.
No. You're fine.
No, go ahead.
No, I just had a quick question, because I don't disagree with you, but my other question is, because as much as I understand that the law itself, you know what I mean, like the fact that there are policies that protect this man, actually, like and we see it not just in Black spaces but also in white spaces and every hue in between, right? But it is, we as the Black community have to take accountability for the fact that we haven't held R. Kelly accountable, for the fact that we haven't stopped listening to him.
But they're still doing it with the documentary. No. And his concert. He's still. You remember? Did you see him on his birthday?
Yeah.
Women talking about kidnap me.
No, the women he should deal with, and not picking him up around the corner from the high school.
I hear you.
But the only thing that the only point that I wanted to make was the fact that I appreciate the fact, even though I'm not saying that they're not pathologizing. Black trauma, you know what I mean, and Black issues. But ultimately, the fact that now there are new charges against him. Thank you. The fact that this was now reopened and not just swept under the rug as we have done. You know what I'm saying? I do appreciate that.
So I do, but at the same time,
Black people have been complacent.
Yeah, we've been complicit in it. So this is the thing.
Now the white people are
but
talking
I will
about
say
it.
this.
Now
Is
we're
R.
like
Kelly
arguing amongst each other about R. Kelly. We should have been had this argument.
So is R. Kelly getting charges? Here's the question then to you, Kerrie. Is him getting charges or them looking into him worth the collective trauma or the collective re-triggering that has happened inside of the Black community?
I would defer to the Black community and say, why didn't we do something? Listen, I understand we as a people, right, have been through some shit. I get that, and I am not saying that we aren't subject to trauma, but ultimately, if we are going to talk about it, you know what I'm saying, in every space, and we have to make sure we're talking about it in our space, and we have to make sure we're holding people accountable in our space. If we're going to talk about it, if we're going to say that this is what needs to happen, and this is how we need to be treated, then we need to treat one another like that. That's all I'm saying.
Real talk.
Because accountability on every side. That's all I'm saying. That's my point.
Why did it take a white network to publish something for us to be willing to have the conversation in our community about it?
But okay,
conditionally, right? If it's not white, it ain't right. I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
I probably wasn't gonna say anything that exciting, but I was just thinking, but I feel like now it's the larger issue is also of men, right, being called out for these things because like I'm sorry, like remember, and this was last season when I was like the Aziz Ansari thing, right, and I took heat for like a post I wrote because I was like, well, that doesn't sound like that was sexual assault. That sounded like some bad sex to me. Aziz,
no, it sounded like he was too like.
No, but I'm just saying like that's but it made me feel some kind of way about sexual experiences that I had that I brushed off as being like, well, I shouldn't have been so drunk, or And
I actually don't want to brush aside. I think my reasons for not watching the show, I would give very similar reasons as Hashim and Soul. But I actually don't want to brush aside the fact that there is a exact one-to-one gender divide between people who watched it and people who didn't. I actually don't think that that's just like a thing to brush off. I think that's really telling.
And you know what, James?
What do you mean by one-to-one?
Because
none of the men at this table watched it, and all of the women at this table watched it. So I think that's telling. I think that's meaningful.
But what does it mean though? Like,
I'm
sorry. I'm not in defense of R. Kelly. I'm not.
Make that clear.
And I don't want to say that I'm assuming that.
This is for these folks out there. Right. Like to misconstrue shit.
Right.
I'm not in defense. I didn't watch it not because I'm in defense of it. Didn't watch it because I'm like, this is old news. There is nothing.
It's true.
There's new stuff because there's different victims coming out, but there's nothing new about his behavior that would ever make me say R. Kelly is okay. That would ever be like, well, maybe we need to reconsider. No. So that's why I didn't watch, because I'm like, I don't need to watch this to understand that he's trash.
I agree, and I feel the same way. But again, I just think it's telling that the men at the table are comfortable saying, well, I've known he's trash for 15 years. The women have known that too, but they chose to watch. And I just think it's telling.
Telling of what, though? I think
I would like to hear what Kerrie thinks as far as...
Because I was actually just about to say that, to me, and it was just, I was thinking about your question, so to me, another, like, I would also defer to the women that spoke up in this documentary when it comes to asking, was it worth it? And the only reason I say that is because they experienced it. And for some reason, I don't know what happened behind closed doors, but for some reason they decided to tell that story to everybody. And so it mattered to them for some reason. And so that is one of the reasons that I believe I watched it, was because it's not easy to stand up there and talk about that kind of pain. You know what I'm saying? And so the fact that you decided to do that on national television,
that's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
I think it's telling also that even since they've told the story, they have begun to fight with each other. Right. So again, that's the pathologizing part of it. And then I saw one of the people that were telling their story, and she had like R. Kelly's poster behind her as she was telling her story. And I just, again, I have a problem with Lifetime doing it. I don't understand why Oprah wouldn't have picked this up so that.
Oprah probably secretly owns Lifetime.
Or she was like, or she might have been like, to hell with R. Kelly.
Right.
That's true.
I'm not trying to give
That's true.
because his record
That's what
damn
Cupid
sales
did.
went up
They did.
after the thing. Like,
They did.
the bastard is profiting off of other people's pain still.
Still.
You know, and it's crazy. I mean,
So what do we do with R. Kelly?
so
I think that's
Throw him
what
in
do we
the
do with R.
trash.
Kelly?
That's
Because
kind of-
and I know people say that, right?
Yeah.
Throw
I'm
them in the
sorry.
trash.
No, I was just
and this is the thing.
reactive.
In the black community, we are very quick to throw each other away. And again, that's to Hashim's point that it's because we were treated as property for so long that we've internalized the throwing of each other away. Like, and this is not to your statement. This is not to your point. We throw each other away. We don't value each other. Look at the numbers in Chicago during the summertime when we got 20. I can't even fathom living in a city where there's 35, 45 deaths of us shooting and murdering each other. And so what do we do? First of all, I think there has to be an acknowledgement of where this comes from.
Well, yeah, where did it start? R. Kelly.
Yes.
He's a
No,
child.
so-
According
Yes.
to what I heard, a child, 14-year-old sister comes home every day, sends him or his brother out to play, sexually assaults and molests the other, who stays in the house.
Right.
So I'm talking this through with a friend last night. We come to this realization, perhaps that's why he's now targeting 14-year-old girls.
So
Because he got frozen there.
okay.
However,
You know,
Right.
like how do we?
It's not
I'm not saying you're giving it a pass, but
No, and I
do
get
we
it.
want to talk about how somebody gets to that place?
we have to function we have to compartmentalize and operate on multifacets. Like we acknowledge what happened to him, so he gets treatment for that. But not only does he get treatment for his trauma, he has to get treatment for the trauma that he's created.
Exactly.
Then his victims need to get treatment for
hurting
their
people
trauma.
hurt
right.
people.
So I completely
That's
agree, like to help because it makes money the world go round,
That's
or
right.
money makes the world go round. Lifetime needs to donate all
Bring it
those
back,
damn
yes.
funds,
That's right.
every penny
Yes.
that they have
Yes.
to maybe not just victims, but to nonprofits that treat and specialize in that type of
Right.
treatment.
I agree.
Because as we were talking about, why didn't I watch? Well, I'm a victim of sexual abuse. And I never really like to get into it too much, but like I'll just, for the sake of argument, I'll acknowledge that, or I'll expose that beyond my acknowledgement. But it needs to be money given to programs that will support people like that,
That's right.
that might not have watched, but have caught wind of it, and that's triggered something in them. Like, so yes, throw him away. Because I don't think his benefit has been enough to warrant the damage
but
that's been done.
so this is my question though, because I feel like with the canceling situation, right? And I agree with you, Soul, on this point where it's like, yes, we will throw people away. I mean, if anyone follows me on Twitter, Rebecca Mendation, you can. I'm sorry. But
turn
it's turn my mic off. You better shut up. This is my shit. Okay.
So where do we throw people away
say
to?
no,
Where
but I'm
does it- where's
saying
that?
no, but what I'm trying to say is I'm the kind of person, right, where I'll be like, nope, he's trash, cut, and that is something I do. And when you said, well, we're so accustomed to doing that,
Right.
that resonated with me in the moment. And I also, because I want to, again, to talk about Tarana Burke, right? I saw her speak at the Facing Race conference in Detroit, and she was very inspiring and all of those things, and it was really emotional. There
We're
was
talking
a lot
about the
of
sister
stuff.
that started Me Too.
Yeah.
Yes.
And do you know what her critique is? Her critique is that white people took her movement and
did.
turned it into something
They did.
that she never had any intention on it being. And that's what I'm saying. The same
That's
thing
not
they
her
do.
only critique, by the way.
It's not her only critique,
A
but it's the
critique.
one that aligns with what I'm
Right.
my point.
But what
with-
I'm saying is she was talking about calling people out in the activist community and in our communities, and like people trying to cover up stuff that has been going on, right? So I just want to say that that's something that is we're like, and we protect
And then
our
what?
black men,
And
right?
then
But
what?
I feel like we do want to protect them.
No, I'm saying, but
you
then
know?
what? After you call him out, then what?
I mean,
Get
get help.
Is he really
Right.
the black
Get help.
community
Yeah, but that's the part of the
problem?
conversation that's never
I-
had.
no, I'm
right?
saying, take him.
He's built his house of cards on the bodies of black children.
He absolutely
Is he my
is.
problem? I don't know.
That's what
about
I'm saying.
that.
I agree.
There are lots of black people that I would love to uplift, support, help, all of that, but I don't know if R. Kelly.
So then what? So what do you do with them?
So like, what do you do? I don't know if there's
So
anything
clear
to.
out
So,
the
stop,
thing.
But that's what we're
stop.
saying.
Treatment.
He maybe has some people in his
And not
life
even
who
put it-
loves
Oh,
him.
shit.
Who can support him.
Okay,
and work
but
him
my
through whatever
point-
he got.
I can't force
No,
you
no,
into
no,
hasn't
treatment
happened
though. I
now.
can't force you
Right.
into treatment
Okay.
though.
Right.
And you
Right.
have way too many. You've had way too many opportunities for you to amend.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like your actions and for you to repent for your damn sins
Right.
and stop because you went through an entire case about this shit. You know you're wrong.
Let's
And you're
give it a
still
date.
doing it.
Let's
You know
give
what I'm
it a
saying?
date.
Can I just say, I want to
1993.
pull away.
Age ain't nothing but a number.
Yes.
Going down ain't
Yes.
nothing but a
Right.
thing. Right.
That's
Let's
when
give
You
that
had
a
too many
date.
chances.
Okay,
I'm
sorry.
So that's
I'm
why.
gonna pull it back for 1 second because I'm not specifically speaking of R. Kelly at this time. What I'm talking about is, and I'll throw out a generic because MLK Day's coming up, right? MLK was a womanizer,
Right.
Right? He was having affairs. He did things that I would call trash.
Wow.
Yeah, you heard me.
Yeah.
So
You fucking heard me.
Wow,
But
yeah, I
there's
heard
no
you.
comparison on
I
that.
heard you.
No,
Now we're
but
comparing
no, it's not a
MLK
comparison.
to R. Kelly. Well, it can even be in the
is no
same
comparison.
conversation.
Stop.
And see, that's the problem that I have. Is that's exactly becomes a slippery slope before we're talking about R. Kelly, who's messing with young women, to
Thank you,
MLK,
Hashim.
That
who
was
was
about-
dealing with
Stop.
consenting women.
No, you're
So,
missing my
but this is
point.
my
This
thing.
is the nuance
No,
of it. Yes, you are.
I think.
Uh-oh,
if I may.
whose house is this?
Yes, I'm on your side. I just said it was
All right, go ahead, Hashim.
That's all you had to say. That's all you had to say. Now you get the.
Now you get the
Now you
mic.
get the talking.
You don't know the deal?
You get the talking
You have to
stick.
start with that.
From
I'm
my,
I'm on your
Shush.
side.
So,
Can I
go
talk?
ahead.
from my understanding, you were talking about throwaway culture.
Correct.
And we're talking about Dr. King and how he was a philanderer, right? Like with other women outside of Coretta. And that people are like trying to just disregard him because of that as part of the throwaway culture. And am I right? Okay. So how I take that is there is no one perfect out there. We all have some diss to our function. And then it becomes a pro and cons type of list. And does the harm I've done outweigh the good that I've done? Like if I walk some old lady across the street one time, but yet all the time I'm victimizing women, I'm victimizing kids, I'm victimizing men, I'm stealing, I'm doing XYZ, yeah, cancel my ass. Because I've done more bad than I have done good.
But what
But
if
that's
like
such
you
an arbitrary
I
thing,
know.
right,
That's
isn't it?
where-
But also,
Because some people can say, listen, R. Kelly saved my life when I heard him in
I
19...
believe-
Okay, well then they're the
Right.
people
that
that
used to
need
be my
support.
song. I'm sorry. I don't say it on here, but that used to be my
Right.
song.
So let his
That's
new
gotten
record
me
get
through some
those
things.
3 damn
I ain't
sales
gonna lie.
and move the hell on.
It's true.
A very smart brother or something like that. One of those writers, a very smart
Damon
brother.
Oh,
from
Very Smart Brothers, the
Yeah.
website.
Bro, you know, like, hey, there's actually, I was all about this woman hater in the male form, but I didn't even realize that women are also women haters, right?
Yes.
And maybe they should just all admit to this women haterness, and then they can be together and go to R. Kelly concerts together. And he said that like 2 years ago.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like now he has all these people showing up to shows who know exactly what they're getting themselves into. He'll be fine. I don't think it's really our problem.
Do you think he
We
should
don't
still
need to-
have shows, though?
I mean,
I
he
don't think
shouldn't,
there's
but
somebody-
if people want to
I
hate
hate
it,
to
that's
go
what I'm
see
trying to
Oh,
say.
shit.
Like, why y'all keep lifting him up? You know
Yeah,
he's trash.
yeah.
I don't know.
And that's
empathy.
That's kind of what I mean by
Understanding.
throw him away
I
because
hear you.
ultimately, like,
Take him out of the...
exactly,
yes.
exactly. Like, remove him from the spotlight. It's
So-
not about you anymore.
There's a Facebook comment by Jeffrey Keith that says,
Thanks for being on top
you know,
of it.
no, teamwork makes the dream work. I am a team player.
Do it, bro.
But Jeffrey Keith says that people get thrown away or counseled not for being human and making mistakes. It's the lack of empathy and understanding of others' humanity, the lack of apology and atonement for their transgressions to others. That's it.
So I'm down for that. But
Yeah.
no one has really answered the question. And I want us to follow it through to the end.
All right, go ahead.
What happens when we cancel someone? What does that process look like? Is it a process? So let me give you an example. I lived in Africa for 10 years. When I was in Africa in 10 years, it was during the same time that the Hutsis and the Tutsis went against each other. Murder. You know, we saw it all the time. They who were murdering each other's children, each other's wives, each other's husbands, each other's grandmothers, went through a process of reconciliation, right? Of atonement. And I'm saying if anybody would have a reason to say, throw away. The Hutus could have said throw away the Tutsis. The Tutsis could have said throw away the Hutus. I'm asking, what is a process for us to throw away? And is in that process a idea of the redemptive value of a human being? Or are we saying, murder him, we don't care what happens to him, throw him out into the fields, and then perpetuate... Right.
Right. Okay. I feel like White James. You guys, White James got something to say. I have to speak up for White James.
No, I just think what Hashim just said is sort of an answer to that, which is that to have that conversation requires a presumption that R. Kelly has admitted guilt or apologized or anything, but he hasn't done.
No, I'm not talking about R. Kelly. I'm talking about anybody.
Okay, so if it's a broader conversation, that's a bigger thing.
So that's between victim and the assailant. And that needs to be there needs to be a representative of the victim and the representative of the assailant to have that conversation to bridge together of what do you want, what are you willing to give. And I don't know. I mean, if you victimize somebody, I don't know if you're willing to give is important. But that's how that needs to happen. But then the community involved, because if what R. Kelly has done has triggered something in me, then like he's kind of victimized me and stuff too, right? So it's big, but what I caution on is spending too much time and resources on trying to make R. Kelly whole when there's a whole other community that's willing to.
But the reason why we do that is because he has such a huge impact. Not because
until he corrects himself, snatch that plug out.
That's what I'm asking.
That's right.
His resources are gone. Those 3 people that support R. Kelly.
If I don't hear
that's what
R.
I'm
Kelly
asking.
songs, the whole thing makes me sick.
Listen.
So that's what I'm talking about. Some very practical.
Hashim was saying that he's still listening to R. Kelly.
No, fuck no. Don't you do that to me.
You just set it upstairs.
No, I did not. White lies. White lies.
I did not hear that.
I didn't hear it either. Listen.
The black people didn't hear that shit. I didn't say I wasn't on class.
James is representing Lifetime television. In this example, he's being Lifetime TV. And
there were people on the back deck who I'm not talking about what they were doing.
Mrs. actually. Anyway, I didn't change my name. Stand by. Let me tell you what happened. No, because James heard something that he does not necessarily didn't know exactly. No, I'm going to say it.
Okay, you good.
Because I'm a solid source. Because I'm an information professional.
Okay.
It sounds like that person. I had a dream that
Former
ex-information professional.
Yes. I'm still professional as fuck. So listen up. H. Soul asked the question, what does canceling someone mean? Because I was listing the topics. And Hashim said, for example, I still listen to R. Kelly, and then we're all going to be like, Hashim is canceled.
Right, so I'm giving it
It was an example.
Wow.
But you see
You know
how
how many black people are locked up in the penal system?
Right.
Because of stuff like
you ain't gonna be putting my
Technically, you said it. Technically, you said it.
You gotta use the word I.
That was good, though.
Yes, you
Rebecca,
did.
that was good.
Context matters.
Good clean, yes.
Because that is actually
Context is
accurate.
everything.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's real because
That is fine because we all listen to artists. We all listen to artists whose actions we wouldn't defend. Even if you don't listen to R. Kelly, there's still any number of artists.
Okay, I'm gonna offer one up because Danette, I don't know if you guys know this, but Danette is like this amazing, also like visual artist, and I bought a painting from her for my husband. I'll put a picture of it. I'm not even kidding you. It's beautiful. It's like it's a mixed media piece, and it's Miles Davis. My husband loves Miles Davis.
I do too.
Okay, and I love Miles Davis too. His behavior and the things he has done is more than terrible. But do we still listen to Miles Davis and enjoy his music? The fact of the matter is, yes, we do. Right. But I also think it helps when people is dead. Like that's.
I was about to say. I feel like I'm not gonna lie. I feel like in the future, like when R. Kelly dies, you know how his sales are gonna skyrocket. I mean, it happens with everybody.
Well, you know, if it happened now, it's 2 birds with 1 stone.
Oh, listen!
I'm not advocating, but I'm just saying.
I'm agitating. Listen!
But I think that there's probably the large group of people who've been victimized and have lived their lives to this day and believe that victimization is normal and acceptable and a way to behave with other people and totally fine and everybody's happy.
It's normalized.
They don't want to. They don't want to revisit.
Well,
It's normalized.
I think
and
that's
some want to live it.
I think that's the point that we're making. Well, that I'm trying to make is that we've been talking about a half an hour, 45 minutes about this topic, and we have not identified the source of where all this
Well, I have another question for your question.
Behavior.
When was the last time we have canceled as a black community a successful black man? Because I can't think of
Bill Cosby.
No, we didn't really. I mean, that's this. Okay, before the meeting.
Right down the
Prior.
No, so let's talk about that real
Prior
quick.
to Bill Cosby.
Because I will say,
We don't really
His success is in the past, though. He's not presently
the money,
successful.
If they got money, if they got position, if they got influence, if they got style, if they got swag, if they got muscles, if they got a nice haircut, do we cancel them ever for anything that they do?
I mean, do we cancel
any
movie
anybody.
star?
Yeah, it's I mean they all still out there
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
their
all
thing.
of them.
So you're like,
Producing
what are we doing?
movies,
I'm like, I don't know
having
that we've
shows.
done it.
But
So there is no.
It's not we. Like, so now everybody, right?
What can we do?
All
This
actions
is the
matter,
question.
That's the
right?
question.
There has never been a group that has fully counseled a person for anything heinous.
Exactly.
Like Charles Manson was still getting letters from women and
put
shit
money
like
on
"I
his
love
blood.
you" and all
Exactly.
this type of stuff.
Exactly.
Like what? You know? So right? I mean, so it's.
Real talk.
I don't know if there can ever be a complete absolute of whatever, but I know it's your
about the
show.
church, please?
But I just get so angry
Right.
That's still an institution.
that we are still giving
Right.
these people
Right.
all this energy. Like I feel,
Yeah.
in my opinion,
yes,
myself and I, that
Okay.
R. Kelly has gotten his due share
yes.
on your opening season broadcast.
Yeah, fuck R. Kelly.
Fuck our
Where's that booze?
So moved.
No,
Don't
it's
you
all
look it
gone.
over here.
It's
You
all
like, I
gone.
got the booze.
It's all gone.
Yeah, there's nothing but water left
That's what I
Mother.
and coffee.
That's what Hashim's drinking.
Yeah,
Well,
water and
Hashim's
coffee.
drinking water and coffee.
I'll have the water Hashim's having.
Just there's a bunch of bottles upstairs. Can you pop a bottle? You guys, this is White Vince.
Michael.
White Vince!
Woo!
Anybody else need anything else?
Yeah,
More water?
whatever you're getting,
Whatever
I'll get a
you're
glass
I'm
of
fine.
whatever.
I
you're
don't-
Just
about to
bring
get.
some glasses. Just take care of that.
Well,
Okay. Okay.
I would also like to talk about something that triggered me in the R. Kelly
Wonderful.
film, were all of the people who were like sort of testimonials to things that they saw. These were people who were in my community. It felt like these were people I know. These were people who attended my church. These were people who, were friends with my father. And I was just so uncomfortable by that. Just
How close it was.
Close to
Yeah.
home some of these characters and personalities were, and how they overlooked, and things that they shouldn't have overlooked.
Right.
And I for one am now going to be paying more attention than I thought I even needed to.
So that goes to this whole idea of what superstardom does to us, right? Like, if you're Michael Jackson, or if you're Bill Cosby, or if you're
The Tan Tigress.
I don't know
Just
if you want to be
kidding.
included in that.
Yeah, I don't.
No, I'm saying if I can become a superstar. Sorry, I got distracted. I'm so sorry.
Anyway,
You're already a
back
superstar.
to Bill Cosby and R. Kelly.
Yes.
Right. It's crazy to me that, so I lived in Los Angeles, and what I have seen parents allow their children to be around in the sake of getting put on, right? And so it's a huge conversation around how this culture idolizes stardom. And getting put on and what we're willing to do.
We're desperate.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that's a
he
good
wasn't
point.
going to the middle class communities even.
Right.
He was going to
The hood.
poverty
Yeah.
stricken communities.
Well, that's-
picking up girls.
That's
at
because
McDonald's.
society ignores them.
Right.
Society ignores us.
They
Right.
don't have a chance.
Right.
There's
right.
no chance. So that's true predator behavior. So I mean, once
Bottom,
again,
at the
that
bottom.
cuts against
most
my
vulnerable,
empathy
right?
for R. Kelly. Like,
40-year-old man at McDonald's.
Right.
yeah, like
The least
You have
protected.
$1 billion
Okay,
in
okay.
the bank.
So I will say I agree with Hashim that I feel like I have given enough to R. Kelly this evening.
All right.
So, and I feel
he
like
owe us some money.
He does. Okay, you owe us so much money. But I want him to take it. I want him to take it.
I need that from you.
I'm gonna take it.
That's
Okay,
right.
I'll take it. I'll take it, but I'm gonna give it to
I'll
you.
take
I'll
hers.
give it. All right, you know how it is. You know how it
I'm
is.
on the wrong side of
community we
struggle.
was talking about, though.
I'm
All right.
I'm gonna bring some sage next time.
Okay. Yeah, I know. It's a little hot in
bring it
here.
sage.
All right, so I love that we are all here and able to kind of have this conversation because I think it's really important. And something that kind of came up that I wanted to I don't want to get into it real deep at all. Not that deep dive we just took with fucking that piece of shit. So I will say though, I want to talk about Kevin Hart.
Who? I'm just playing.
You're gonna get in trouble. You're losing your black card a lot. Remember what happened?
Kevin Hart is low intellectual comedy. He ain't no Bill Cosby. I mean, I'm sorry, he ain't no Richard Pryor.
He ain't no Richard Pryor. And you're right.
So
you're
Right.
absolutely right.
So I'll give it right. Like back in the day,
Right.
throughout on the other side of his fucked upness, or even through it, Bill Cosby had a different intellectual comedy that Kevin Hart doesn't possess. Right?
Okay,
sure.
But I meant to say Richard Pryor, who had problems of his own. But Richard Pryor is the benchmark comedy genius in my opinion.
Hands down.
Okay, I accept that, and I do not disagree. So I'm just saying, though, one of the things that came up because I listened to his interview, everyone knows that, on NPR, who's on Fresh Air with Terry Gross. Did you get to listen to it, James? I thought a white person.
What are we talking about with Kevin Hart?
Yeah, I heard some.
So you guys know anything about Kevin Hart?
No.
About him calling, well, not
So-
about in saying that the gay community are bullies, or was that D.L. Hughley?
No,
And
you're
that-
right. It was
D.L.
Kevin Hart.
I can't
No,
remember.
it was Kevin
someone said
Hart. It was Kevin Hart.
And that's the reason why he turned down the Oscars.
Or he got
So
X'd out of the
in
Oscars.
2000,
Right.
Invited.
He got canceled.
So
He got canceled.
got
he canceled himself though.
No, but he canceled himself.
I mean, he.
It was
Yeah, but it's like
okay.
me
That's what he-
quitting before I got
So he
fired.
built the
says.
bus.
That's what he says.
Edit that.
And maybe that's true.
But so in 2008, 2009, Kevin Hart made some homophobic comments. He stated that if he came home and caught his son playing with a Barbie, he'd take the Barbie and break it over his son's head and say that's gay. Then there was another comment where he said that it was somebody's nude picture that was out, and someone's like, "Send me the picture." He's like, "I can't send you that shit because if I send you that shit, like, I'm gay and I ain't gay." And there was one more comment that he made, and I can't remember what that third comment was. So, in Kevin Hart's explanation of the story, yesterday, let's say, okay, so today he gets a call saying, "Hey, we want you to host the Oscars." So it's like all his lifetime dream has been hosting the Oscars or whatever. So in less than 24 hours, bam, somebody released a tweet to what he said. So then it was this, so he ignored it, then the fire swelled up, and this is his words, like on an interview. The fire swelled up, he ignored it, the fire got larger, so then he wanted to give some addressing to it, and he apologized for it, or whatever, and so that's that. All right, so then Kevin Hart is not doing the Oscars. He goes on Ellen. Ellen's like, "Hey, I want you to do the Oscars. You've repented for your sins," or whatever. So I think you should do it. Kevin Hart's like, "No, I've already apologized. I'm not apologizing anymore." Gone on a couple of other shows. Good Morning America was one of them. But refused to talk about it. "I'm done. I apologize. I'm not saying it," or whatever. That's the gist of the Kevin Hart thing.
Okay. So, go ahead, Kerrie.
But did Richard Pryor not make gay jokes?
All the time.
Okay, but we're gonna have to.
No. I'm not. All I'm saying.
No, you did.
All I'm saying
So-
is that sometimes I feel like comedians have this like different artistic responsibility. You know what I'm saying? And to talk about things. The reason why it's. Listen, I am a proud gay woman, and I understand, right? And I also understand that it's different for queer men of color. I do. However, I just know that we laugh because there's that stigma attached, right? That makes it kind of sort of unacceptably true. And when I say true, I just mean that it's we've been taught that it's true. Does that make sense? And so to provide that comedic relief in the midst of everything that we have to experience on a daily basis, you know, I don't feel like he did something like so drastic that he should have to apologize as a comedian for what he said. That's my opinion.
On multiple occasions.
So yeah. But I don't actually even. I agree with you. I'm not super concerned with that. What I'm more concerned with is what we's about to get into right now.
Okay.
Because I do feel like I want to talk about the gay community. I guess I'm still calling people gay. I know I'm supposed to call them all kinds of stuff, but
I don't even know.
I don't even know because I'm just I'm a gay. Gay seems like a good term.
I call myself a bad gay because like I don't know.
I'm like, should I say this? Should I say that?
Come on, girl. She's like,
I'm
I'm too busy
sorry.
living life.
I'm super black. I'm usually kind of like
Yeah.
You know,
No, but hold on.
that takes up most of my time.
Okay, just
Yeah, go ahead.
Just go with fabulous.
Fabulous. Okay, word. Okay, I'm with it.
All right.
So what I would like to say before we get into this segment, this is where it may get a little bit hot, and but I think this is a really real conversation that I think needs to happen. And so now I'm about to get real personal, motherfuckers, on Facebook Live, because the shit that happened to me on Facebook. James just backed the fuck up. That is hilarious. He's like backing way the fuck up, knocking shit over.
Pure coincidence. Coincidence.
No, it's because, so, I don't know, it's like a few weeks ago, I commented, there's a person who is running for Denver City Council at large. This person's name is Jesse Parrish. He is somebody running for fucking local office, right? And I'm friends with him on Facebook because I'm friends with all kinds of people. And I thought, like, sorry.
You're good.
Should I cut it off?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
No, yeah.
No.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's fine. But okay, let me pull it together.
Explain why you're friends with Jesse.
Whatever you were going to do, you should do
friends with him on Facebook. Go.
So I was friends with him on Facebook, and I signed his shit to get him on so he could run for council. Me and my husband both signed that shit because we met him at something with Jeff Campbell. Jeff Campbell, I know you watching. Anyway, so he was there, and I'm not gonna lie. If I see like a black person in general in Denver, I'm always like, hey, and I'll like support whatever they're doing because that's the way I feel here. Okay, so I didn't think anything about it, but then I saw like a post that he wrote that said, "Oh, people trying to paint me as homophobic because I won't get on board with their like gay agenda," and I was like, what is the agenda? And that turned into the agenda. Hashim brought it, by the way.
Jesse is a product. Again, this goes right back to the first conversation. He is a product of the environments in which he's operating.
But he chooses
I will
right
say
now.
that. No.
Let me land my point. I'm not excusing what he said. I said, let me land my point.
Okay.
He's a product of the environments in which me and Hashim are very clear that this language took place, that it was commonplace. This isn't something that just happened every now and again. Calling boys faggots. Listen, when I was on the playground, if I let my wrist fall, boys would, and I would have to go home and practice keeping my wrist because it was just, if that happens, you're going to get stigmatized, you're going to get teased, you're going to get, right? And so Jesse's operating off of a toxic environment where being seen as gay made you less than, made you, and so just like Sister said earlier, he's perpetuating that type of mindset into his adulthood. And is he responsible for it now? He's absolutely responsible for it now. However, he's not the source of it. And again, we keep missing, why aren't we talking about the source of this type of...
We will, but let me just say
we
one
missed
thing.
The source when we were talking the one about R. Kelly, right? I don't feel like we ever got to the source.
We know what the source is, and I'm going to get to it, but I'm going to say something right now real quick because this is some shit. This is a beef I had to pick with all y'all. Because, you fucking heard me. You too. Yeah, you too. And my husband. Oh, shit. Because when I commented on his, like, anti-gay, like, rant that I did not appreciate, he came at me in all caps, calling me all kinds of shit.
I didn't see that. Mom.
Stand by. Okay? But I'm saying that this brother was out of fucking pocket with me, and nobody said, oh, maybe we should check him. One person who's a fucking stranger, what up, Don Wild, I hope you watching, he came in and he said something to him. But it was like, and not only did he like, the comments of back and forth, that is fine to me, okay? But then he's coming on all my pages, all my shit, call me a cunt. And you're like, oh, that's fine, and nobody's gonna fucking say
Who
that.
said
at all.
Who
That's
said
not
that?
Jesse fucking Parrish.
No, who said it was fine?
but
I said you a message, H Soul.
Right, and what would you have me do?
I would have you stand up for me.
And do what? Get into some Facebook beef with somebody who's has.
I know.
No, I'm not.
It's the same argument my husband has.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into some trash discussion over social media.
But there's a small price to pay for coming on to the post and saying, "Hey, Jesse,
engaging.
That shit is wrong,
right?
Yeah. And you need to tone that down."
Oh, he's been told.
No,
See, the thing is, Jesse's been told.
I got you, but I am not clinically trained. However, I can recognize some things.
Thank you.
And there are some problematic behavior.
There's some things. And isn't that what I told you? Isn't that what I told you?
So,
I said there's some things.
So here's my political acclimate for someone that is running for an at-large position, and it's such a race as Denver City Council race. If one thinks that they can actually win with that type of problematic behavior, that speaks again to another problem. Yeah. So good luck to him. He's
Why you gonna give him good
wrong,
luck?
though.
No.
Don't be giving no good luck to
wrong.
that
First of all,
guy.
ain't no luck first of
Just
all.
saying.
First of all,
That's like prayers
he
and
called me a
well-wishes.
shea butter feminist, which I'm not gonna lie, I did enjoy
But there's
a little
other
bit.
problems. So Jesse, for the history that black people have faced in this country, I respect the whole thing of leading with the black foot forward first.
Yes.
But yet in the same token, he's anti other stuff as well too.
A lot
and
of
I'm
other
thinking,
stuff.
and so my political acumen kicks in. We are 4% of the population statewide.
Yes.
How the fuck? I'm sorry. How do you think that you can win a city council race with only 4% of the vote? So then let's say this is like off fast math. So if it's 4% of the black population is black, half of that is LGBT. So you hate that. So now you're trying to win a city council race with 2% of the vote from a statewide production.
Okay.
Don't give Jesse more energy than he is worthy of deserving. But yet the community has a responsibility to telling Jesse that he's wrong. Jesse is wrong. I've gotten into him before, and he's defriended me from one of my many Facebook accounts. And that's fine, but I will respect him as a person until he crossed that line of disrespect with me. But
Kerrie's gonna jump in here.
Yeah, Kerrie, go ahead.
But he's wrong for what he did to that, and the community is wrong for not having your back, and that speaks to another issue of how we hang black women out there like you've been doing so much over here, you got your own back, don't worry about it. And that's messed up.
No, and I saw he was there. Like I went to a fucking community oversight meeting, and he's sitting there, and there's an empty seat next to him. You know I'm not gonna go sit there, right? So I sit next to Tony Pigford. Tony, who's running also for Denver. I kind of like, he has my vote. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. That's my light-skinned brother. Right. Okay. So, but he's sitting there and I'm just thinking about these two candidates that are like running for office. And then there's just a lot there to like unpack, but which we can't really get into because we're already like over time.
What I just wanted to say briefly is that, Jesse, your internal oppression is showing, bro. Like,
You're right.
Point blank, period. Right. You cannot come into this work and become what you hate. Okay? You can't come into work like this and become what you hate. So the hate that you are giving to communities that you might not understand is the same exact hate that has been imposed upon people that look like us. And I need you to stop. And that's all I got to say.
So,
not now, but right now.
Right now.
Chairman Sekou went on Brother Jeff's show.
I can't even with that dude.
Let me finish, but that's his mentor, right? And
we got problems.
The language that I heard coming out of Sekou's mouth was highly problematic.
Yeah.
So Jesse got into it. Me, I bet you won't say it to the chairman's face. I said, I'll see you in about 10 minutes.
About that life.
I'll see you in about 10 minutes. And I went down to Brother Jeff's show. I had a conversation with Jesse. I had a conversation with Lisa Calderon. I had a conversation with the chairman saying that I find it highly problematic that you're using that type of language. Now, I'm not going to get into what that conversation was about, but the point and the fact of the matter is I think that we have to be careful about saying what black men or black people don't do for each other, because that didn't show up on Jeff Favre's Facebook Live, right? But I do think that it happens, and I think that we should. I just, for this whole conversation, I just feel like we're focusing on the worst of us, right? And I just feel like we're talking about Kevin Hart fucking up. We're talking about Jesse fucking up. We're talking about R. Kelly fucking up. Like, and that's the same issue that I have with Lifetime. You're right. Right? We are, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't talk about it. What I'm saying is there was a reason why you wanted to move on from the R. Kelly conversation, right? Because at a given point, we have to focus on what we want. Right. Right? We have to give energy to what it is that we want. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't have this conversation, but I think it should be balanced in such a way that we walk away from this table with some solutions.
So we can get there, but this is something that I wanted to, that brought it up to me. So the whole reason, this is my show. Okay? So, and it given to me in part by Dr. Gregory Diggs. I don't want to fucking acknowledge that shit. Yeah. So can we just give a little drink to Diggs? Because honestly, I miss him every day. Right. Every day. Okay? So that's Dr. Diggs. But the reason that I wanted to talk about it was because when I started talking about that, I got surprised by people that I love and respect and like.
You're talking about the R. Kelly issue?
No, I'm talking about the
issue?
the gay agenda. This idea of a gay agenda. Go ahead.
Let's
agenda.
Let's crack it open.
This is the agenda.
Okay.
I want to know what's in there.
That's what I said.
Tell me. The gay agenda. Okay.
Let's get to the folder. You know what I'm saying?
I honestly, I got. You know, this idea of this talking like our bubbles and the people that we're with and all of these things. And like, I feel pretty like, I know what's going on in general, right? And I was shocked. That people are still talking about this like gay agenda. I thought that was like some 1970s like Anita Bryant shit from like I didn't know what it was. I didn't understand that people like there's this gay agenda. And I kept asking. I'm like, what's on the agenda? That's how the whole shit started with Jesse. I'm like, what's on it? What does it say?
So do you know what Jesse means by that?
Stand
and I'm sure that it's
yes,
in this.
I did.
Let's talk about it.
So this is a conversation that the reason I was shocked by it is because I am, in fact, half black, as people like to remind me. I'm only half, but I grew up.
All black.
I mean, that's a whole other episode. But I will say that, you know, my own family, what I always thought about people being kind of anti-gay or uncomfortable or whatever it was, I always just kind of assumed that was rooted in Black Christianity, which is a product of like white supremacy. I don't know.
Plantation.
Okay. Plantation. Okay, thank you. Plantation. Oh, goddamn. You gave me a new word. I love you. This is my, come here, baby. Come here. Thank you. Plantation Christianity. Holy shit. Okay, so what? I'm like, whoa, that's like some good stuff, you know? So that's what I grew up with. I grew up going to church. I grew up with all of those things. But I would say that, and there was, you know, a lot of negativity around that. I remember like my dad driving me up. I was going to live with some friends in Albany, and my dad was turning, and he turned to me. We're driving in the car, and he said, Rebecca, are you turning gay?
Oh, God.
And I started laughing because I was like, oh shit, Daddy, if you only knew,
Oh,
right?
Lord.
But I was like, oh, but I just feel like this negative attitude. My brother's an artist, like, you know, like all these things where it's like it's common. And we're sitting at this table, we all have a black family, right? And I feel like that was common, at least in my experience. Okay, you're shaking your head, Soul.
Yeah, I think this again. It's nuance and it should be contextualized.
Nuance is my word for 2019, by the way.
And so when we talk about why black parents may feel that about a black gay child or a child that may be exhibiting gay behavior, black people have it hard enough as it is.
Correct.
And so some of that is wanting their child to be okay, right? We already have strikes coming out against us just because we're melanated.
Yeah.
And so, and again, this is not I'm contextualizing what's taking place. I'm not excusing what's taking place, right? And so, as a parent, you want to, as a black parent especially, you want to protect your child. You want your child to be protected. And if you see them exhibiting some behavior that could be seen by the larger culture as being problematic, then you try to extricate them from that behavior, or you try to, parent it out of there.
Okay, go ahead.
So why not make it easier?
Right.
Why not create a safer space at home that this is your refuge? And like, yo, Hashim, or yo, whatever little same-gender loving child, LGBTQ community child out there, I have some biases. I have some concerns. And this is why, because society makes it hard enough for us as it is. And, the real talk is, I wish you weren't, but the real talk is you are, and I accept it. And I need you to understand that no matter whatever bullshit that you face out there, that when you come through those doors, when you hit that fence, when you cross off that sidewalk up here, it's all love. This is your refuge. This is who you can be. But it's that conditioning, that internalized shit that we deal with of you can't be that way. And we don't understand that's a mass production mentality, right? Because man on man can't produce, woman on woman can't produce, and can't produce means I can't provide more bodies to be slaves upon my plantation of whatever that is. And I don't think we spend enough time getting into that type of context or looking at there's an alternative way instead of praying away the gay, instead of beating away the gay, instead of hoping away the gay, to be different instead of I will support assured you that you can be great and you can live freely and whoever you are, because I have your back no matter what, inside and outside of these doors. And I think that is the progression that we need to work to achieve for. Absolutely. So for Jesse, yes, he is a product of his environment. But if Jesse has some cognitive skills, and I messed that up. So screw you,
it's just water.
Screw you, grammar folks that want to force me to speak the King's English. Nah, like I might have a speech impediment, right? Like, whatever. Or that might be my way of fighting against the system. But once he recognizes that his problem is bad, or if he has 1 or 1,500 people telling him his problem is bad, if he is incapable of self-reflection, he's not capable of representing anyone but himself, period. And he has identified that he has a problem within him. And to be clear, it's not just Jesse. I don't want him to carry this cross alone.
No, it's not.
Other folks in our Black community that have this damn issue.
Is that in the folder?
Well,
is it a file? Let's break out the file.
So I might lose my card in the community because normally the agenda is only presented to members only. But I'm gonna go ahead and share.
No. Before you share,
Before I share,
I want to tease out here before we share the agenda.
I deserve first due on this.
Please go to Cash App, HTC Stack, or Venmo, the Hashim.
TanTigers.com.
That's HASHIM.
Be sold and not
Right,
told.
the game is to be sold.
Before we expose the agenda, I want to talk about it more because this shit is all about me. Everybody knows that. So, but for me, what happened, and this is real talk. So now it's like, here I go. So I was completely surprised when Danette Hallowell, sister friend, caregiver to my child while I was in LA, caregiver to my dog, queen, partner in writing musicals, management, all these things. Like, she is like my friend, and I love her. That's why I think we secretly cousins, girl, because there's just something going on there. Okay. Well, she got that dimple. It's a whole thing. Okay. So I will say though, when we started talking about that,
Cute anyway.
I got surprised that Danette said, "I do believe there is a gay agenda," and I was like, "The fuck?" Right? Because to me, Danette cool. Danette seems like she my people, and I got real uncomfortable with that.
Why?
That also That also happened to me with another friend of mine who I won't say her name because like she don't know, I don't know if she's listening, whatever. But I'll just say that she told me a similar thing, and I was shocked because, as you know, and people who are watching or know me, I'm like pretty pro-Black, right? Like I'm for the upliftment of my people, and but I am. But I mean that's the truth. It's like the thing is like what am I gonna go around yelling? Oh, I'm half white. Like fuck that. Like white people got everything they already need. Like I don't need to be like uplifting them. Okay? What? That's what I'm saying.
That's the organ.
Right.
That's the organ. That's the organ.
I'm just saying. I don't even do that. So that's why I come across the way I do. That's why I claim my Blackness every day. That's why I'm always like trying to tell people about it and shit, because I'm trying to let people know, because I don't have the phenotypes that make me look Black.
But what does this have to do with Black?
It has to do with Black in that I forgot, y'all.
Well, okay.
I remember. I'm pro-Black, so I'm hanging out with all these like pro-Black types and shit, right? And so to hear that, to hear that from people that I feel real simpatico with, that I'm feeling really close with, that I feel like are with me on what I'm trying to do, to hear them be exclusionary and oppressive to our black brothers and sisters that are gay
How's that oppressive or exclusionary?
Well,
to say that there's an agenda. But so here's the thing. I don't know if she's saying there's an agenda by black people against black people. I think the statement, and I'll let her speak for herself, because I'm in agreement with Danette on that. What? I think that there's absolutely
what is in this?
So if you look at the history
I agree.
of what has happened to black men specifically in white supremacist culture, we were subjected, right? Even right now, you ask somebody, who's the man? Right? You're talking about a white man. You're not talking about a black man. You're talking about who's the man. In white supremacist culture, on the plantation, black men were raped just as much as the black women were.
So there's a straight agenda?
No. So
I think we're talking about two different agendas.
Okay, we can
I'm gonna let you
into
finish.
it. Well, this is no, but it's important. This is so important to me.
So what I'm saying is,
precisely what I discovered with this conversation is that we are talking about two different things. Different things.
So I don't think that black men who are gay are out there trying to hypnotize or send subliminals to get more black people to be gay.
Only if you're rich and if you're interested in me.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay, right.
I mean, you gotta pay the bills, baby.
It's BMO, right? So I think the statement, and this is what Danette is saying, is not the fact that you hadn't heard that before. It's kind of surprising.
It's not that she hasn't heard it before. It's from where she heard it from.
But that's where you would hear it from, is from people who have. So do black men today, by and large, the brother that's walking around on the street, know that we as black men were subjected to rape? Yes, to being raped, and that is where a lot of our fear and homosexual against homosexuality comes from. It's from trauma that we've experienced, and then encapsulated inside of the Christian church and crystallized into a methodology that says that if we are this, then we're sinners, right? Or that we're not worthy of. There is a history of black men being reduced to, right, object and of white supremacy. And so I think that's the vein in which she's saying that there's an agenda to demasculate. There's no secret that when black men were and this is my last statement. This is my last statement.
We'll let him go.
My last statement is, it's to be noted that when black men were hung, their testicles were removed from them. And saved and preserved.
Is that homosexual?
No, it's not homosexual. No, it's not homosexual and gay. What I'm saying is that it's an attack on
sexuality.
Yes, on sexuality. It's
not only men.
It's an attempt to I'm sorry.
But it's not only men that are in the queer community.
Right.
The only thing that
we were talking about you're right. So the gay.
So let me do this. Excuse my rudeness.
Can I say something real quick?
I just want to pause it and give it to Danette.
Okay, my bad.
Since like
she told the story.
Yeah.
So I believe what I said, and I should maybe go back and try to see exactly what I said, but I believe I said something to the effect of, I think there is a gay agenda. I don't know that we're calling it what it is, though. It was more like there's something that's happening. I don't know that we have the words to describe it, or have we addressed the attack on black sexuality. And it's an attack, it's like ravenous war, cutting off genital parts, lining everybody on the plantation. Here's the new buck. Bend him over, their buddy, and fuck him in the ass. I'm sorry, excuse me. So everybody can see
I need y'all to cuss more to make me look better.
I'm sorry. To see who is the man. To see who is the man. So you've got generations of this. It didn't just happen once in a while. This isn't some nightmare that I made up in my mind. It happened to generation after generation after generation, and then everybody was set loose. I am not so inclined to believe that blacks, as a culture, are... We just, we gotta fuck a million, have sex with a million people, have a million babies, leave. All we want to do is shake our ass. These stigmas. I'm more interested in figuring out who told us that this was okay. Who told us that this was the behavior? Who, where did we learn this from? What is the root of it? And then furthermore on that, the gay part is more about, and I did suggest that demasculating a group of people might have a relation to homosexuality, and I've definitely since thought that through a little bit, but I will not necessarily take back the fact that when I see really high-end jobs and things like that, and a black man is in that position, they tend to be a homosexual man. And I truly believe that happens because homosexual black men are less threatening to the white man. And if I believe that that's true, then I can
Oh, gun, fucking NRA representative. Shots fired.
She means by and large.
Catching.
I mean, that hasn't been my experience, and I know you have a lot to say.
So I do think that if there is a gay agenda, and I don't believe that there's some person in there trying to make everybody gay, I do think that attacking black sexuality, and I separate it, and that's what's most important, is that the entire LGBT, I felt kind of like came down on me like the wrath, but I'm not really talking about LGBT, I'm talking about black sexuality. And
that's a different agenda. That's the thing. That's
homosexuality has been used as an attack on our community, and how do we discuss that without offending everybody who is gay? Because I don't care.
How is it an attack?
What you're doing with your body parts?
How is emasculation?
Okay, stop.
By equating race with homosexuality.
Stop, because the thing is this conversation is so important.
It is important.
That I want to make sure that we all get a chance to speak on it.
So I think Kerrie was up.
I'm sorry.
No, you're up.
No, say sorry on my goddamn house.
Are you finished?
Okay, unless you're a man, then you can pause.
So I'm just trying to figure out how is emasculation, like how is there a correlation between that and homosexuality? That to me doesn't make any sense.
Well, a man can really only answer that, right?
Let's let the man answer that shit.
I don't agree. I don't necessarily agree with that, because I know. I mean, me being a gay woman has absolutely nothing to do with me being less feminine at all. Like, it isn't, you could take all the things, you know what I mean? But, like, at the end of the day, it doesn't have anything to do with
So this is what it has to do with. It's a power relationship, right?
Right.
So I think that's what we're talking about, is that...
Stand by, soul.
If you're being raped...
I think those are two different agendas, though. And the only reason I say that...
I think that's the nuance that she was trying to make.
Right, and I understand that. So the only thing that I want to say is my issue with the gay community is it's not really with gay communities of color, to be honest with you. It is with, I feel, certain white spaces trying to monopolize oppression all of a sudden. All of a sudden, I feel it too. You know what I'm saying? So now you've won the award of being most oppressed. Nah, bruh, because at the end of the day, let me keep it all the way real. Like, it's not the same. And I've been a gay woman my entire life, but had to hide that part of me for so long. I can't hide the fact that I'm black. I cannot. And I'm not saying that I'm either exclusively, but ultimately, I know for a fact that is something that me being black is not something that I could ever pretend I was not. Me being a gay woman is something that I had to live my entire life pretending to be. And so you don't get the right to all of a sudden come into the picture and monopolize oppression just because you feel the pain too now. That is my issue. So yes.
Real
Okay.
talk.
Stop.
Older, come on.
No. Oh wait. Good night.
I feel like Bill Barker. Come on, man, crack it
I
open.
know. All right, go ahead. No, it's because I want to address something that Greg, a friend of mine that I've known my whole life, Greg, aka Chuckles. Sorry, he was a clown. It's the whole thing. Okay, so Chuckles, if you still listening, bro.
He's an actual clown?
Yeah, he's a clown, but he also wrote me a nice recommendation letter for college. Anyway, no, he's like a real clown.
This is a terrible introduction.
I'm sorry, Greg. Hey, girl. That's what he said to me. And I'm like, hey, girl, right back to you. Okay, so that's wrong. I'm sorry. Apologize. He said,
Lord.
Not true. Okay, so the thing is he's not a clown anymore.
He's not a clown anymore. So
he's an advocate. He's amazing. But I want to stop and just, no, because here's the thing, okay? People have been pointing out that the gay, like, I can't get into it because there's so many comments, but I'll just say what he's saying. You guys can probably guess from here.
You want to read it?
No, I got it. Okay. Not true at all. This is Greg. Not true at all. There has been an advance of LGBTQ rights due to queer youth and millennials. The advancement has been due to people being out of all colors. And I think that, to me, is the nuance, is the thing. I hear you. And I want to explain that to white gay people.
Right. and not just gay people. It's not because as long as the cause affects white people also, then all of a sudden it's an issue. Look at the opioid crisis. Look at the women's movement, the Me Too movement at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like it's as soon as it affects white people, especially white women, I'm just saying,
100. Then
all of a sudden it's a bigger deal. And then also my question lies between like talking about masculinity and femininity and how we define that. But anyway,
all right. Hashim, I'm
hurting. I'm injured and I'm trying to raise my hand.
I'm done
because I've been conditioned to believe in the hand.
Yes, same.
All right. So first of all, butt breaking.
Yeah,
is historical, but to believe that's the only time that ever a homosexual act was introduced to black people is wrong. Like there was I got you, but I'm just simply saying for those out there in the internet world,
that's a good
that like same gender loving, same sex loving occurred back in the motherland.
Yes, it did,
and it was a real thing, and it is a real thing. So if we're gonna address butt breaking and attach that to a gay agenda, we must also attach the raping of women by slave masters, the destruction of their babies once they delivered them in front of their jumping the broom husband as a heterosexual agenda as well. So it just gets hellified deep because for those to say that there is a gay agenda, but that means that we are cutting down the production of the population of black people, happens to subscribe into the whole thing of colonialism and oppression. That means that sex is only there for procreation. Right. So if we get together and one of us is sterile or barren or whatever the
then why are you doing it?
So that means we can't validate sex. We can't validate emotions because it's only there to mass produce. So this agenda is similar to the agenda that they said black folks had this black agenda of. And the whole thing, like the black person's in a position, they are considered non-threatening. Like, my ass is fucking unemployed right now, right? And I'm unemployed because people are looking at me and my queerness, my gayness, or whatever, like, we can't control this black ass. And they don't understand bands make me dance, right? Like, once I fill out my form, for a W-4, it ain't about me. It's about the entity that's employing, that I am employed to or whatever. But when I walk into a room, they're not like, oh, he's not threatening. I guarantee you not. They're like, I'm viewed as a threat. So I don't. And
can I just interrupt for one moment?
Sure.
If you're able to hold your thoughts in your head, which I am not. I will say this to you, to be keeping it real. So real, baby. So I had no idea that you were a same gender loving man. And typically, I feel like I be knowing when people be same gender loving, right? But I feel like I had no idea. And when I invited you to be on my podcast, I got a little. This is like some ignorant shit right here, and everyone need to go get over it right now. But I'm gonna keep it real.
No, I thought he was hitting on me. Remember?
No.
He messaged you.
Did you really?
Because Hashim, I'm just saying Hashim. I will say though, I had no idea. And I felt like you're a very attractive person. And so, of course, I'm like, looking at you. No, but I'm just saying, I thought he was like real cute. Like, you know, you got what I like going on. And so when you came to be on our episode, Hashim Coates is single, by the way, you can go check that out. Episode season 1.
And available.
Emotionally.
Financially.
I just feel like though, but what I'm trying to say is that when it came out just from our conversation of like getting to know each other and talking to each other, you happened to mention that you were gay. I had a fucking feeling of relief, to tell you the truth, because I was like, oh, good. Now I feel like because I did. And I feel like my husband gonna relax a little bit because he knows how I love some like locks and shit. And it's like, that's just, you know. And so I want to talk about like that come back to that piece of like gender, like what does that mean? Like what does it mean to be demasculated or whatever?
So,
I think I said that
Basic
wrong.
gender, I don't think they would necessarily be
Emasculated.
intimidated by your ability to do your job, as opposed to the isn't the bare minimum toxic masculinity thing your ability to protect the woman, right? So as long as you're not a threat to taking their women, then you're usually fine. Right? Isn't that sort of baseline of it? I understand
That's what
that
it
we're all
tries to be.
progressive
So it's
and
about
everything,
a presentation type
that's
of thing.
initially how it was. I mean, they would castrate men who stayed in the house, right? So that they would not pose a threat
to their women. But then
but is that also...
But it runs contradiction to the whole thing of butt breaking to like, it's just... It's so much.
Crazy, right?
But
crazy.
was that also kind of about eugenics in a way? You know what I'm saying? As far as like, we don't need y'all to procreate, especially with, white women.
Right, and the population argument, in my opinion, really can't be addressed to the black community, because the gay agenda, if there is such a thing, isn't the only thing we're up against as far as procreation.
It's not.
So you could say, oh, it's a population and, we're having less babies, but that's not the only thing that the black woman is up against. So I would just throw that out there. There's the population thing, and that's all great. But there's other things.
It's just so much, and I'm 43 years old, and I'm sitting here now like this is the most vocal I've ever been about my orientation, and I attribute that to the youth of today, to like the millennials. Because I was college chapter advisor for my fraternity, and they put me around in a college campus up at CSU around different guys and people that were like, this is who I am, this is unacceptable. I'm just looking at this shit like, wow. Like, and one of my friends brought a gay man, he was gay, like, so he brought a man to prom, and I'm like, we thought that was like advanced in my time, but I'm just sitting up there like, wow. So I want to give a shout out to those that I've met in real life at that campus that have given me like this trajectory of like, motherfucker, be who you are, right? And I'm like, wow, and like even different Facebook groups that I'm a part of, and like just like the Ubuntu group that I'm a part of on Facebook, like shout out to y'all, like that just tells like it's my energy, and it brings me from a place of I feel it's archaic behavior to like just being able to have this conversation, and I don't have all the answers, and I'm not as progressive as I should be. So, but yet when I'm a part of these old spaces with this new teaching, I'm like, yo, this is like really messed up, and I don't know if it's like I don't subscribe to societal standards of gay men need to act a certain way, right? Like,
because I'm not.
I'm not putting the flag on my the rainbow flag on my car. So I got issues with the flag. Like, that was an idea that came from black folks that a white man came across and took the idea and was like, it's the rainbow flag.
Yes.
Right? Again,
yes, no,
like,
that's what I'm saying.
So if you want to draw a line between hetero, homo, bi, hetero and non-hetero, like we face the same struggles of appropriation of our culture and our things, and so like the problem is we turn against each other, and then some of us, I'm even a part of a Facebook group that like some guy posted up there like, I believe there's a gay agenda, and I'm like, obviously you don't understand words. Like, what the hell are you saying? Like the gay agenda from a gay person that subscribes to this, but it's that internal fighting. Like if I can make my enemies turn against each other, my work becomes less. And I don't know who is up there besides societal norm that wants to have this engineered amongst everybody. But we do this when we continually perpetuate it and not have the understanding that what you eat will never make me shit. So I shouldn't really care about what you eat as long as at the end of the day that we're working towards the same goal of full liberation amongst black people. And we use Black Panther as an example. Like, when that came out last year, like Wakanda forever.
Rebecca, I'm always like...
But we don't take a deep thought to understand that even within Wakanda, where there was this whole unity, kumbaya, by and by type of thing, there was still fractions, right? Because the Jabari tribe didn't mess with everybody else, and they still had to have a ceremony of trial of who would be the king of Wakanda to lead the different tribes. And so, like, I would love for that mentality to hit black people in real life and understand we are Wakanda, right? And while we are different tribes, and we might fight for who's going to be our representative, whether it's king or queen.
It's me.
Right. But it is still about that one thing: protection of Wakanda, right?
Amen.
Protection of
Yes.
blackness, protection
Yes.
of black people, and again, it's like we have to talk about it, but like we got to be careful not to give it too much energy. But we have to address those type of things. But at the same token, we have to make the same space, and not of the space of, well, yeah, I mean, I respect you, gay, but don't try that shit on me. Like, what makes you think?
I would
like,
ever.
You said it. There's so many men I want to say, like, I swear to God, anybody that's gay with vision and half an eye would never hit on you.
Like
you
they're
good.
speaking from their pain.
But it's pain or ignorance.
Right.
Okay.
It's probably a healthy dose of both, right? It's probably a healthy dose of
Because
both.
everybody hurts. I love that song because it's so goddamn true.
Yeah.
We all hurt. You know what I'm saying?
And there's no hierarchy of pain. I say that every
We
day.
just all experience it in different ways. But I mean, I still ultimately, and this is just me. I still ultimately have an issue with the correlation of like demasculization and homosexuality. That's a problem to me, simply because I think the agenda itself is having to have this conversation. It's a distraction from who we are.
Well,
because the fact that no. What I'm ultimately saying is like these boxes aren't freaking real. You know what I'm saying? They're not ultimately real. And so the agenda itself is for us to have these conversations about these factions that we're in that don't truly exist. I mean, not only did people, our ancestors themselves, were where they practiced homosexuality and there were two spirits and things of that nature. But then also like you look at the Greeks that used to have sex with each other before they went into battle. You know what I mean? So that they okay.
Spartans.
The Spartans.
I saw that show and I was like,
boys.
ooh.
But,
I'm just saying.
so here's the thing, and I totally respect that point, and I agree with it.
And boys.
I think that's what the Greeks got down. They were all
Like,
killing it way before.
I dig it, but like that muddies up what she was saying.
No, I'm about the Greeks.
Okay. I mean,
No, about trying to conflate or configure homosexuality with pedophilia.
Right.
Fucking Arkan is a fucking pedophile.
It's not
that
the
wasn't
same
my
thing.
point. I was speaking specifically
Don't
about
get me
culture.
fucking hot about that.
So
No, nothing about it
this
is
is what I meant.
That shit made me mad.
So I think where it gets conflated, and I think it's important, and I think that Hashim did an excellent job at demarcating what it is that we're talking about when we talk about homosexuality and what we're talking about when we're talking about rape. Right, and what we're talking about is white power exercising itself on black bodies in whatever manner possible. That's the agenda.
That's the agenda.
That's the agenda.
Yes, 100%.
That's the agenda. So I think that when we use the gay agenda or we say that language, we run the danger of conflating issues and at the same time ostracizing brothers and sisters in our community who will take offense to that and think that when you're talking about a gay agenda, then we're talking about there's something wrong with gayness, right?
So why say gay agenda?
No, I don't use the word.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I'm saying that's what I'm saying.
So don't
I
call
still
it.
think we're talking about
I agree, but what I'm saying is that what we're
sorry.
looking for
Can you
is
stop for
a
a moment,
language.
10 seconds.
Let's all take a fucking breath. I know I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Psych, I'm not giving it to you. I'm sorry. I can't believe I'm doing this right now. Why, James?
You're gonna put it on me? That
Yes,
you told him to
because
stop
you
talking?
made a face and I wanted you to say what you wanted to say.
Wait a minute,
because
you
I'm
interrupted
inclusive.
me talking so that James could say something in the middle of? Really?
Don't-
Okay, so let me
Don't let him
Yeah,
dock,
finish.
burn the boats, and send them away.
Finish, because I was listening.
And it makes it look like I did it.
Right.
I know, but I feel like I need to get
You didn't do it, James.
Danette Hallowell has coined a phrase that I love and that I say all the time. And it's like, you gotta get your inner white supremacist in
Under control.
check.
Check
That
that
internal
You gotta
direction,
check
bro.
it.
Yeah.
And so
inner, the
like
one on my shoulder telling me
sometimes it does happen to me that I defer to white James because he's white and I'm like, oh, his opinion is like
Yeah, you just did that.
Go ahead.
I
Say
did
more.
it.
Yeah,
H,
I accept
finish.
your apology. So the point that I was making,
Go ahead.
right, is that what Hashem is bringing up and what Sister Kerrie is bringing up is exactly why we need to have these conversations so that we can understand where we're making injuries to each other. Because the truth of the matter is, when Hashim and I were growing up, we didn't have this conversation. Brother just told you that it wasn't until he was a grown man on a campus and the next generation did what it was supposed to do, which is to push the baton further, that he became he was able to come out into his bigger self, right? And that's what children are for. And so I think that having this conversation and learning these nuances is key so that we don't injure each other, right? And because we don't have these conversations, right?
I never knew that saying the gay agenda, simply saying that, was
so
associated
hurtful.
with gay people not being allowed to have access to resources and get jobs, and I had no idea.
But because we're not allowed to talk about it in Black church, we're not allowed to talk about it in Black spaces, right? Then, but we don't even want to bring up
experience of going into the LGBTQ community and feeling this acceptance and this relief, and I'm not going to take that away from them either, because sometimes Black communities we're hard on each other for all kinds.
I mean, we are.
No, we
It
are.
makes us feel
We
better
are.
about being hard upon. Oppression breeds oppression.
It is.
Yeah,
It does. It does. And so that's something.
Yeah.
So that's something I think that where all of this came from for me was this idea of like, hey, you know, all of our liberation truly is tied up in each other's liberation. And like I feel like that's the thing that makes me so furious, like at a Jesse Parrish, or you know, just this or even Kevin Hart, of like not realizing that like
That old weak ass apology.
but like when we stand up for each other, we're standing up for ourselves too.
So, but also what happens, and I think that we as Black people have to acknowledge this, is that we're very reactionary, and it's part of it's part of our training on the plantation, right? To react to whatever's taking place. And so I would offer you that if you're dealing with Black people, you're going to you cannot be. And this is true for anybody that's working amongst Black people. We're at times walking scabs, and so we're constantly brushing up against each other. And if we don't have patience with each other and the ability to listen to each other so that we can get into these spaces, right, and have these type of conversations, that's problematic. That we get, if you go onto Facebook, I mean, that goes right back to my point about not watching the documentary. Like, we are walking triggers, right? If somebody steps on my tennis shoe in the club, I'm ready to smoke, homeboy, and all it would really take is just a wet rag.
Hits on you and you don't consider yourself gay. No, I'm
But
saying
that-
it's
but-
all a part of it.
I got
I'm
you,
not saying
but-
it's okay.
But to subscribe to that narrative is giving in to white supremacy.
What narrative?
Well, that one, we're a reactionary. And I mean, like, yes, I understand the sneaker thing is real, but like, to say America has never been great, or you've never been proud of America until now, like the First Lady Michelle Obama did, which is like, this is the first time I've ever been proud of my country. Then she got labeled this whole type of thing. So reactionary is not Black owned, as Jeffrey Key stated on our feed. Like, it's not like. It's like we get the worst attributes of society and we exhibit them because we're human, like the rest of society.
Yes.
Right.
Oh my gosh. So it gets so damn deep. Like,
But I think that's good.
but when am I? Am I Black?
good.
Am I gay? Am I gay? Am I Black? Right? So I always say,
I think
for
it's
me,
fabulous.
I lead with my Black foot first and everything follows.
Yes.
Because when you see me a half mile
Exactly.
away, you're like, what's that Black
Exactly.
thing coming? Right?
That's
So.
what I'm saying.
And you don't know what I do outside of that until I disclose that, as you
Yes.
stated, right? You didn't know
Right.
until I disclose
Yes.
who
Right.
I am and what I do.
Yes.
Right.
Was it Stokely that said there has never been an advancement of civil rights that did not put white people, I'm paraphrasing now, that did not put white people first in the movement.
Yes.
So when you look
Yeah.
at affirmative action, largest benefactors are white women,
Correct.
right? When you look at like the civil rights era, just a gay man's like, oh, I can't be racist. Like, I'm marginalized too. I understand
It's not the
oppression
same.
because I'm a gay white man or I'm a gay white
You got a marker?
woman.
Can I put one down?
Huh? But listen.
Or
See,
I can
see,
get
I
a
come.
scholarship to college on
prepared.
a
I didn't mean to come on.
I got you. Right. It's the Boy Scout in me right now, being Black in America in me.
Oh, amen.
So, like, the agenda is to respect, but for someone to say there is an agenda, they don't realize that they are taking upon the same oppressive narrative that same white speak, so we're in 2008 and we took or 2000. I'm sorry, not 8, but that was something that came to mind of something that happened in 8. But in 2019, and to hear that still being said is the same shit that Bull Connor said back when he was standing in front of the schools. Like it's the same language that is just transposed to stopping people from achieving progress.
So now that you've heard the language, what would you articulate it as?
One, shut the fuck up.
Stop
saying it. Do your research. Like we love to tell white people, right, on racism, do your research, improve yourself. Right. I say the same thing. Do your research, improve yourself to do better and to develop a different type of language. But I'm not giving white folks a pass off on this, right? So yes, they have been a parasite or a Trojan horse with black tactics about advancement and yet exclude us.
Exactly.
But then at the same time want to negate what they're doing to us and be like, well, don't black people have issues in their own community with being DL?
Oh, you're LGBTQ, we're all the same.
Right. But mind your business. I'll deal with my black community and this whole DL mentality. But while I'm here, you treat me the same. Even with the clubs here. What is it? X-Bar, Charlie's, Tracks. Like, they don't play current black music because they don't want to attract a certain crowd. And they're racist. They are racist as fuck. And I burn inside brightly and deeply whenever they have these events at their locations. I hope this ain't costing me a job. I really need a job. But if it is, I don't need to
I'm
work
about to build my empire. You can work for me.
We have 23 viewers.
But trust me, it goes out.
I'm about to say, I don't know, things just be in the clouds.
I was at a march and
Right.
somebody was like, hey, Hashim, can my kids walk with you? I'm like, first of all, who are you? How do you know my name? I'm like, oh, okay. But sure, your kids can walk. I'm like, okay, man. But they see me online, so I know the presence is out there. But they need to understand that it needs to stop being a demonization of black folks, and then that just because they happen to fall underneath that rainbow spectrum that negates black and brown in its design, that it was created by black and brown. Even the movie that happened, right? Like they erased the Latinx and the black transgender or drag queens that started the Stonewall movement. And put some white boy up in that shit. And I'm like, how does this happen? How is this still okay? But anytime we talk about it, we're looked at as being volatile or being problematic just simply because we ask for the full truth and transparency. The same way that these good progressive liberals want the damn Mueller investigation to happen and be exposed and for truth to come out, that's what we want as well too. Like, let the truth come out and let it be, and be glad that we just want equal treatment and don't want revenge.
Real talk.
So it's
Real
just
talk.
I know, but
tiring
that
and
is one of my
frustrating.
that's the thing I say all the time though, is like white people are afraid of ghosts because they think that we are going to do what they did to us.
They should be scared. I ain't gonna lie. Y'all should be scared. You should be.
No,
However, people of color have always been the moral compass of this world. Oh, that's all I got to say. And that's something that my brother told me that I've always remembered. We've always been the moral compass. So all I'm saying is you should be scared.
Right.
However, more than likely we're going to rise because we always do.
And this is gonna seem like a shameless plug. When I saw Kerrie's new podcast, the shit was so hot. Like I was like, yeah, we need that,
bro.
right? We need us taking control of our media and speaking our voice and making it look good, right? Because if you look at that looked good. Like I was like, dude, those sisters are on fire right there. Like and so.
Thank you.
You know he is.
What's violin?
Cute too, actually. That's cool.
Hey, what's violin? What's violin's name?
Monique Brooks Robbins. That's my boo.
No, Monique Brooks Robbins. So she
Roberts.
Rob Burtz. Okay, I just want to say because she's in my Running with My Girls video that Vince put together, and I mean, she's so. I mean,
they all fabulous. We got the fabulous, the singer, Raj Dulari. That's R-A-J. Y'all could D-U-L-A-R-Y-I. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I got a little something. And then also we have Monique Brooks Roberts, who is the instrumentalist or the violinist. And then there's me, the poet. And we make up The Sip. But you can find us at www.thesippodcast.com.
I love it.
Amen.
I love it.
Do you ever have guests on?
We're going to soon. Could you
just?
we got you. We watching lots of people listen.
Ain't no shame.
I'm just saying.
I need help.
We got it. We all gotta help each other, baby.
That's how we gonna do it, though. That's how we gonna do it. So you can find Kerrie Joy at Kerrie Joy. Just give me your social media.
The website is kerriejoy.com. Instagram is Kerrie Joy. That's KerrieJoy.
Word.
So for those of you who have not heard Kerrie, we've
You need to go back to
whenever we
episodes.
have an OVOS event, our Voice Our Schools event, Kerrie is the she is the griot that opens up that space for us, and will continue to be so. Right? She's I'm rooting for everybody black. Like her poetry. I even love the way she speaks, just in it's rhythmic, even if she's right. And it's
we're gonna have you on just me and you, girl. We're just gonna have to chop it up.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you haven't checked out Kerrie's website or her work, make sure you do that. Absolutely, make sure you do that.
Thank you. I mean, can we talk about the other fabulousness at the table as well?
While we on Kerrie, the thickness of her hair.
Right.
I
The Africana of her hair. I'm like, oh my.
My barber be hooking me up.
I ain't talking about the style. This is the natural
Yeah,
essence.
your hair is beautiful.
My male ass. Yet holding
The box
on.
are beautiful.
But there will be a time when nature says, you know,
And we're done.
We're done here. We're receding.
you're done.
Yeah, we're receding. Retreat.
But yes.
I feel you. Thank you. Thank you.
Mad props.
But
Well, I'm Danette Hallowell. I'm a vocalist. I specialize in jazz, big band, swing, Dixie, blues. That's what I'm classified.
That girl can sing.
No,
Yes,
she can sing.
I write my own music. I do my own thing. My cover of Santa Baby played on CPR a couple times this year. I'm really proud of that.
And we debuted it at the Emerging Filmmakers Project.
Right. It played at the Bug Theater, my music video that Rebecca made. And you can catch me at 5 Points Jazz Festival this year. Woo,
Nice.
I just heard. Oh, I got some good news, but I'm not even going to spill the
you
tea.
singing there? Come on. All right.
5 Points Jazz. Danette Hallowell is my name. DANETTE HOLLOWELL. You can find me at Danette Hallowell Music on Instagram and Facebook. And I'm black. I'm beautiful. I'm a survivor. I am a black doula. And I pass out diapers to pregnant black women.
Oh, girl, I got some clothes for you upstairs. Sorry.
Right.
I have a
We
whole
take
bag for you.
donations for diapers and baby clothes.
I'm serious.
All the time.
That's a real thing, though, because, like, one thing I will say, I'm so sorry. Whatever, fuck it.
If you say sorry one more
I
time.
know, I couldn't help it, but I just want to let people know that, like, one of the things that people that are looking for is, like, the boys' clothes.
Mm-hmm. Boys' clothes and newborn diapers and, like, pull-up diapers. It's like, it's a huge riff. We are really in need of newborn diapers and then pull-ups. The size that the children start to move into the pull-ups is in high demand right now. But I work exclusively with homeless black women and just black women in need who are pregnant or women who are pregnant with multiracial children. So, yes. Holler at me for the services.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. I'm serious. I just, God, I love it all the world. One of the reasons you guys are all stars is because I love all of the work that you do.
love you, bro.
You know, you really inspire me, and you make me want to like highlight your voices as well as my own, and also hashtag Narcy. Okay, so but I really find you really inspiring, especially and honestly like Age Soul. If you just want to like drop a quick plug for our Voice Our Schools, like just that because I love that, and I love that when we were in the all black room, you were like, we let people self-identify.
Yes, I respect that.
So yeah, I'm co-director with Sochi Gatan and Cassandra. Shouts out to Sochi, Cassandra Kraft Johnson in the Our Voice Our Schools movement. We are about creating equitable solutions inside of public education. We're about understanding that public education or education is the human rights, civil rights issue of our day. It is where it all goes down. It's where the criminalization of black bodies begins. It's where we determine who the slaves are going to be and the masters are going to be. And so with that, we understand that as people of color and marginalized white folks, that we have to commandeer our education future if we hope to survive, which is no guarantee. And I think that's important for us to understand. Our survival is not guaranteed. Right. We're going to have to fight for it. And so that's what we do inside of our Voice Our Schools. And we're very excited about what we're doing this year. We have some campaigns that we're running and we'll roll out later. You can find us on Facebook at Our Voice Our Schools. I do a podcast on Sunday, a live podcast on Sunday called Soul Sunday School. Where we bring on people from around the country to understand that it's a national issue that we're dealing with. Denver is a very centralized. It's so funny, and it goes to everything that we've talked about tonight. The policies that they roll out in Denver, the progressive policies that they want to roll out happen in Denver before they roll them out in other parts of the country, because our demographics almost directly match the demographics of the country, right? As far as how many black people are, Hispanics, this, that, and the third. So
Arapahoe County.
Right, yes, exactly. And so tune in on Sundays at 6 p.m. And that's a plug for that podcast as well, or live Facebook podcast.
Word. This the dude right here, y'all.
Yeah.
Nah, I like it. I'm with you.
Appreciate you, bro.
Hashim?
Hey.
I mean, he's like, let me say my Cash App again.
Once again. So, I'm going to cover everybody. For those that are not literacy confident, right? They might not able to read it. Cash App. HTC Stacks. STACKS. Venmo. VTAT. Hashim. HASHIM. It's like spelling has him. Help brother out.
You could has him if you got the right bank account.
Off Color is brought to you by Tan Tigress Productions, hosted by Rebecca Henderson, produced by me, James Meekum. I also do the theme music. Follow us on Twitter at OffColorPod, Facebook at OffColorPodcast. Our website is offcolorpod.com. You can subscribe on Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and anywhere else you get podcasts. Thanks for listening.